Welcome to the Bible in 1 Year with Ochudo Ayi, and I'm your host, Ochudo. So, I look different today, right? I felt like wearing a veil. I felt like wearing a veil. It's a gift. Well, is it a gift? Not entirely. But it comes in from somewhere in the Middle East, So I thought, oh, let's look a little Middle East today. Anyway, so you guys are welcome to the Bible in 1 Year today. If you're joining me for the first time, you're welcome. And for those who have joined me before, thank you for tuning back. Those who are catching the replay, because most times these videos are shot live. That said, every single day this year, we're going to be looking at a portion of the Bible using a structured guide from this book, Daily Bible Reading Guide. I finally remembered it without looking at it. So every day we look at an Old Testament, a New Testament, a Psalm, and a Proverb. And we're doing this systematically. So at the end of this year, we'll have gone through the Bible from Genesis to Revelations by December 31st. So hang in there with me if you're curious about the Bible, if you want to know more about the Bible. And if anything, if you just want to know more, it's a good place to be, okay? I narrate the stories. I dramatize them sometimes, put in some of my Nigerian flavor and humor in the stories, and try to contemporize them. Think about how it would be looked at if it happened today. I'm doing this because I want to know more about the Bible. I want to know more about the Bible for myself. I want to test the theories. I want to discard theories. I said I was going to say one of the theories that I was going to discard. So in growing up, there's all these arguments about women are not supposed to, women are this, women are not. And I've been looking through the Bible. I've been looking to see where God will say a woman crossed her boundaries. I've been checking, and my eyes have been peeled for where I would see a woman who did something and God would say, how dare you? That is not for a woman. The daughters of Zelophehad challenged, a very major, structure. And God was like, he didn't say, actually, we didn't think about it, give it to them. What I have drawn, and I'm going to do a series saying a few things I have understood from reading through the Bible so far. This is halfway through the year. I'm going to state 7 things. So I've discarded that idea that I've never imbibed it before, but lots of people tend to imbibe. So I kind of like wonder, was there something I was missing? Was I wanting too much because I didn't have a brother, so my father raised me to think I could achieve anything? Was I crossing a boundary? I now have proof that nowhere. Hi, K-Raj. Nowhere is it written. Nowhere was any woman challenged for doing anything across her boundaries. No, in fact, every single time they did something, they negotiated or they requested for something or refused to do something, they were actually listened to, and in many cases, they got what they wanted. I'll talk more about that, but today let's just stick to hello, Joseph. Oh, you're from Kenya, so I've been to Kenya before. Nice to see you here. All right, so this is the Bible in 1 year, so stay tuned for the stories I'm about to tell you. All right, so we're doing this and we are making great progress. That said, today is day 187. So we're looking at the book of Chronicles, chapters 2 to 4. We're looking at the book of Acts, chapters 24, and Proverbs 18, 16, verses 16 and 17. 16 to 18. Anyway, thank you for being here today. I'm distracted because my daughter is standing behind this ring light. Come and say hello. Come on. All right, she's run away. All right, so let's go on. So we continue with the book of Chronicles. We continue Proverbs 18. Yes, that's right. Proverbs 18 verses 16 to 18. Yeah. So they've said I should greet you. A guy from Kenya, Joseph, says to say hi. She's still running away. All right, so let's get started. So the book of Chronicles, we continued from yesterday. We're looking at chapters 3 and 4 today. Basically, we're still continuing with the genealogy. We're still tracking the genealogy. Yesterday we looked at the genealogy from Adam to David. Today now we're looking at the genealogy from, I don't really know how these people got on this list and why, but I'm just going to say what I saw. Okay, so he talked about Hezron, This time around, he listed some people and then listed their genealogy. I think they were important people, so he listed their genealogy. So he says Hezron had a guy called Jair. Jair had 60 towns, so Jair must have been a real big, big real estate dude in his time, right? So that was one of the major people from the genealogy of Hezron. Then the genealogy of Jeremiel. They listed quite a few people. It was the first time I was seeing them list people who they said died without a child. So I saw about 2 or 3 people. This person had 4 children, 4 sons, this one, and then they died, this one died. But then they listed girls too. They listed some girls too. I wrote here some fertility issues were spotted in this line. All right, so Caleb, one of the people who conquered the mountains when they got into the promised land. Caleb's Caleb, a very large. Caleb had many children, right? He had many concubines. He had wives here, and then this one passed, and he married this one, and anyway, Caleb had a lot of people. So and he had a daughter. He gave his daughter one. He gave his daughter a mountain, right? She must have been special. She was still mentioned here, as well. She was still mentioned here. Then we have David. They listed. That's my toddler crying. I hope you guys can hear him. So they listed David's sons while he was still on the run from Saul, 7 of them. That's where the whole team of Amnon, Absalom, Daniel. Did you know that David had a son called Daniel? No name, nothing. Daniel didn't appear to impress us at all. Nothing about Daniel was written. He was a very quiet dude. But Amnon, Absalom, and Adonijah, all those other ones, drama kings. Anyway, that batch, there were 7 sons. Then when he became fully king and entered into Jerusalem and built the city of David and all of that stuff, he had 9 more children, along with a daughter, Tamar, who was also mentioned because Amnon, his first son, assaulted his daughter, and that's what led to one Absalom killing Amnon, and then Amnon, and then Tamar being just all of this drama. Very bad story. If you had followed my previous episodes, you would have seen where this played out. Then this one. So altogether, David had 16 sons. They didn't list the concubines that David had. The children of the concubines, they were not listed here. You know, I noticed that in David's household, his direct children, there were 2 names that appeared twice. I didn't write them down, but maybe one wife would have a child and name him David, for instance. Another person would have a child and name him David as well. Like they're competing for something. I don't know what's going on. David's house, I don't know. Anyway, so then of course Solomon becomes king. That this entire story of is the book of Kings that we see, this book of Kings 1, book of Kings 2, all of that, they come from Solomon's loins. So Solomon's line is now detailed. That's where we have the good kings and the bad kings. So we have after Solomon we have Jeroboam, after Jeroboam, and then it's in Solomon's lines that we have kings like Ahaz. It's in Solomon's line that we have kings like Hezekiah. It's in Solomon's line that we have wicked kings like Manasseh, and in Solomon's line that we have kings like Josiah. So at the time Josiah left and Josiah's children came, it was in Josiah's time that Israel lost Jerusalem. They were overrun by their enemies and Babylon took over and all of that stuff. So all of that line came from Solomon's line. You understand? And then Judah, they took time to list out the line of Judah. Judah, do you remember Judah? The one that had to sleep with his daughter-in-law by accident and got her pregnant. She had a set of twins. That whole line. There was something about that line that produced that line is where Jesus came out of as well. So Judah, all of that was written, and then all the way to the owners of Jerusalem, Bethlehem, all the way to the owners of Jerusalem, they come from the line of Judah. So that ends our Old Testament today. It's interesting. Thank you for the comments that you've left. So Acts chapter 24, we see the continuation of what happened yesterday with Paul. Paul has been taken to Felix the governor to make a case because the Jews are threatening to kill him. Yesterday, 42 people said, we swear, we must kill this guy before we eat. And so God found a way to preserve Paul by taking him as a high profile prisoner to the governor. Now, with the governor, a case was being made. So the high priest Ananias came with some very, very powerful public speaker to make a case for the Jews. Oh, this guy has been going around. Let me see how they even stated it. how they stated it here. So I put my notes down in my box. All the scriptures we leave are left in the description box below. So they say this guy is a dissension among the Jews. He causes dissensions among the Jews throughout the world. He's the ringleader of a sect known as the Way, aka Christianity. For a long time, Christianity was known as the Way. It wasn't. Oh yes, thank you, thank you. So I'm just reading it and then sharing my thoughts. Today is not a funny day. So on some good days, I really go out dramatizing what I think is going on. Especially where Jesus used to talk, because Jesus was always quarreling with the Pharisees. So that part, I used to capture it in a lot of humor. Anyway, thank you for being here. So keep watching. So they accused Paul of being a creator of dissension among Jews throughout the world. He was a ringleader of a sect known as the Way, aka Christianity, and a sect of Nazarenes. He tried to topple our laws, and we want him to be handled. We wanted to handle him ourselves, but the garrison commander interfered violently and took him away. And so now we're down to reporting it to you, Felix, the governor. That guy started with a lot of oratory. Oh, Sir Felix the Great, you who has provided peace across the nations, we are pleased to be here. If you would be so gracious as to allow us speak. All of those things they used to butter so that Felix would be like, all right, go ahead, say what you want. All of that thing to just butter him up so that he'll be warm towards them. Anyway, so they spoke, and Paul, thank you very much. Thank you, Joseph. So they spoke, and Paul responded. Paul said, "Thank you very much, sir. You know, sir, and as they also know, I've been a judge in this country. I have been a Jew. I have been a judge in the Pharisaic sect. So I'm not a child. I'm not a small boy, as we say in Nigeria. And I'm not doing this out. I'm not a charlatan. They know me. They know what I stand for, right? So they know what I stand for. I have been a judge for many years in this country. I entered barely 12 days ago. Between then and now, less than a week, we are already getting into spats. And I didn't speak to anybody. I was minding my business in the temple, worshipping with some Jews from Asia who had just come in, going through the purification rites, when these people accosted me. And those Jewish Asians, they should have been here, because if they were here, they would prove that I didn't do anything. Even these people speaking about me, what did I do? What exactly did I do? I said nothing. I spoke to no one. I was minding my business when I was accosted and harassed. Even these people saying they can prove nothing. So I learned here that Paul is quite a chatterbox. So I don't know how people get to wear veils all the time. This thing is just falling from my head and I'm just taking time adjusting it. I don't know. Anyway, so Paul is retorting, defending himself vigorously. Which is so interesting, because a lot of Christians that I meet today, they are very weak-willed and timid, kind of. God will speak for me. I don't want to. I've seen Jesus. And I'm going to jot down that thing among the points that I've learned so far reading the Bible halfway through the year. The real people who were very powerful were very bold and not timid. They were very bold and not timid. They were not fearful people. Anyway, Paul continues to make a case for himself and defends himself. He says, they should have been here to testify now. None of these guys can prove that I was making trouble, and all of that stuff. So what is my issue? The only issue I have, and he's telling Felix, the only issue I have, which they also believe, they're Pharisees, is in the resurrection of the dead. I believe in the resurrection of the dead. And and then of course I know it's not captured that he said here in the Bible, but there was a commentary saying that Felix already knew about the Way. These people who are now calling themselves people of the Way, who eventually became known as the Christians, and he knew more accurately that, yes, it's true, I know those guys, they mind their business, all right, you know what, I'm going to join this meeting. You guys go and come back, and I'll invite the garrison commander also to hear his own side of the story, and then I will make my judgment. And that's how the matter piped down. But when they were gone, he told the guards, he said, this Paul, there's no issue with him. Release him. Keep him here in detention, but keep him in Keep him in luxury. Let him live well, eat well. Don't stop people from visiting him. I can see that there's really a lot of animosity against him. So just keep him kept here. And then also, Paul, you're free to eat, go around, and I'm free to even receive visitors, okay? Well, we're going to address this matter afterwards. And then every now and then he will say, Paul, come and tell me that thing about that. Come and tell me the story about that, the way. And then Paul would tell him about resurrection, about righteousness, about self-control, about judgment, about God's plan for humanity. And every now and then he'll be like, oh my God, I'm afraid. Go. And then later he'll say, come back again. Tell me more about this thing. We don't know if Felix ever converted, but Paul is in detention for 2 years. Can you imagine? In detention for 2 years. And after the 2 years, a guy called something Festus Procius became the next governor. And Festus Procius is also aware of the real issues, the real issues on ground, but is afraid of the Jews because the Jews are quite powerful, and he wants to remain friends with the top dogs there. So he continues to keep Paul in detention. You know what I've understood? So that ends the New Testament reading. And then we have the Proverbs, which is just barely 2 scriptures. Let me read that quickly. And I want to say something about this story of Paul. So we're looking at Proverbs chapters 18, verses 16 to 18. A man's gifts makes room for him and brings him before great men. The first one to lead his cause seems right, until his neighbor comes and examines him, which is what is going on with Paul. And then 18, casting lot causes contentions to cease and keeps the mighty apart. Okay, so normally, like I said, if you join me very early, we read Old Testament, New Testament, Psalm, and a Proverbs. So I just read that. And I want to go back to the book of the New Testament reading of Paul. I feel like God, a lot of things happen and they seem like, oh, God is not in control, but God is the one actually pulling the strings. I feel like God knew that Paul would be killed immediately. He had no real support. He had no real security outside of being with the highest power in the land. So he caused all that ruckus in the temple. The first day Paul showed his face, which was like 2 or 3 days after his visit to Jerusalem, and he quickly took him to the garrison and then took him to the governor because he wanted Paul to be saved and kept safe for a long time. And so there are many things that happen. There's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture that God is controlling. And there's a bigger picture behind what seems like a good or bad event, like world event playing out. All of these things that were happening looked like they were disrupting Paul's life, but it was really God keeping Paul safe. If he had stepped his foot out of the governor's control or command, he would have been eliminated. There are people who swore that they would not eat until they killed him. The high priest, they were waiting for him. He had no friends except the disciples. The disciples were fishermen. A few prominent people joined who were not even confident enough to stand up yet and say, I belong to this sect. Only Paul could do that. And Paul had so many enemies. So my takeaway from this is God will move many things to preserve you, to keep you safe, because he has an assignment for you. So even if things are not so pleasant or you don't understand what is going on, there's a bigger picture. So long as you are aligned with God's will, there's a bigger picture playing out. And the long and short of it is that God will do what he wants to do using you. I love to share, I love to analyze and I'll round up with this. Thank you, Joseph. That's so great. Please hope you subscribe to my channel. I hope you subscribed. Please subscribe to the channel. Share this with anyone you think may be curious about the Bible. And I'll be here tomorrow to share more. Okay? But the summary of all I'm saying is that there's a life, there's a spiritual and there's the physical life. Many things that play out on the physical here first show up on the spiritual. They are controlled at the spiritual realm. And if we understand that, there are many things that we think are ordinary that are not ordinary, okay? Including things that we think, oh, God is not involved. God is heavily involved. He was heavily involved in the crucifixion of Jesus. He's heavily involved in what's going on with Paul. So thank you all for joining me today. I've really had a great time, and thank you so much for your engagement today, Joseph. I hope I'll see you next time. So turn on your notification button to know when next I go live, because I don't always go live at the same time every day, but I try to show up every day after reading the Bible so that we are making progress. Today has been day 186, and I'll see you tomorrow. Look at this shy madam who didn't want to say hello. She has decided to show her face. All right, people. See you all tomorrow, and goodbye. God bless you.